Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are in the world. And welcome to another episode of Glass Half Full, a podcast and a safe platform where we talk with a variety of teachers, entrepreneurs, spiritualists, uplifters, givers, shakers, and serenaders. Everyone has a lesson to learn and a lesson to share. Let's use our life experiences to enrich someone's heart, mind, spirit, and soul. Through sharing our experiences, we can be a learning inspiration for one another. I'm your host, Chris Levins. Let's welcome today's guest. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are in the world. And welcome to another episode of Glass Half Full, a podcast and a safe platform where we talk with a variety of teachers, entrepreneurs, spiritualists, uplifters, givers, shakers, and serenaders. Everyone has a lesson to learn and a lesson to share. Let's use our life experiences to enrich someone's heart, mind, spirit, and soul. Through sharing our experiences, we can be a learning inspiration for one another. I'm your host, Chris Levins. If you love the show and want to support us, you can become a monthly subscriber or make a one-time donation. Just look for the heart icon or the support link on our podcast platform. We're so grateful for your continued support. It helps us keep making this show even better. Let's welcome today's guest. Today's guest is Susan Hensley. Susan Hensley is a transformational coach, speaker, and author dedicated to helping people navigate life's transitions with joy, creativity, and resilience. With decades of experience as a corporate executive and leadership coach, Susan has a deep understanding of the challenges and opportunities that come with major life changes. Let's welcome Susan Hensley. Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. And thank you for taking some time out to be a guest here on Glass Half Full. We're happy to have you today.
I'm really looking forward to our discussion. I love what you're doing.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. And so I didn't even ask, how are you today?
I'm terrific. It's when we record this, because of the time difference, it's morning. So I'm a morning person. So I've got lots of energy and enthusiasm.
I love that. Can you tell everyone where you are in the world and what time it is?
Sure. I'm in Austin, Texas, and it's 8 a.m.
I love that. I have some dear close friends to my heart that are extended family that live in Austin. Such a great city.
It is. It's got really, really good energy. I enjoy it very much.
Yes. Awesome. Well, we're going to jump right on in. I like to ask my guests this first question. I believe that our lives are in spiritual design. Can you share your life layout or blueprint with everyone, how you grew up, your family lifestyle up till today?
Sure. So, because I'm 60, I'm going to try and keep this a little.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. You still young. Hey.
Oh, with the way people live, if we're fortunate, I may have a lot of years, and part of it's just reinventing ourselves. So
I love that.
I grew up in Northern California. I was born in Wisconsin, but really grew up in San Jose area, and two-parent family. Original spirituality of sort of origin was Catholic, but was exposed to a lot of different concepts, mainly some meditative or more Buddhist concepts, and really the ability to spiritually work with God in our lives. And just my general perspective is things unfold. We don't understand why or how, but there's something in faith, there's something in intention,
Mm-hmm.
there's something in co-creating with the universe. I sort of joke when I look at my various careers. There was a career in journalism, there was a career, multi-decade career in corporate America, but I did a number of different things, including living in Asia and Hong Kong for several years. I have viewed my life, not as a ladder, things are not straight, but really as a sort of a spiral staircase with one experience leading to another, but not always going somewhere, right? But you don't really see what's around that next corner, and that's what makes it fun. And yet it does build. I've taken all those experiences with me. That's really led me to today.
I love that. I love that. And do you have a family? Any pets?
I do. So I have a husband, 30
Okay.
plus years.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Young adult son. We've typically always had a dog and cats.
Oh.
Right now, our uh, beloved dog passed about a year ago, and we have not felt really at the life stage for another dog. So right now, we just have two cats, but I do view ourselves as dog family. There
That's
just is
cute.
not one currently in our
You still
in
keep
our
you still
lives.
keep your card. Don't worry. Don't worry.
Oh yeah. And stray or I don't even know if they're stray. They don't need to be fed. Random neighborhood cats always find their way to our door. I don't know what that's about, but there's always extra
Mm.
cats hanging about.
Do you feed them?
So I used to have a
Okay.
whole cat colony when we lived in a more rural place. We would trap them, either spay or neuter them, get them their basic shots, and then
Okay.
just feed them. They would roam because of where we lived. The ones who visit us in Austin are extremely well fed. So I'm not feeding them because we have raccoons and fox in the area.
Oh wow.
And what I don't want to do is end up feeding all the wild animals. And then I want birds to feel safe. So I'm actually not feeding them right now, but it is tempting.
Oh wow.
But they look quite well fed. I truly believe these guys who come cruising through are just cruisers,
That's
not
so
needing
funny.
food.
I love that. Oh wow. Okay. And so tell us about the creative outlet that you found, that you realized during
Sure.
that pandemic time that brought you through.
Yeah. So really, the what sort of brought us together is art journaling and my art journaling practice. And I started that back probably 2017, 2018. I was I think you'd read, I was a HR executive
Hmm.
and was really always a person who, although I tried to be balanced, was more comfortable being productive, a human doer,
Hmm.
right? I
I
love
like
being
that.
busy, love doing, got a lot of strokes for that, right? Doing all the things. And although tired, I needed an outlet, and a friend, she had a side hustle. She's a legitimately terrific artist and would sell her work, taught a few of us on a weekend. She says, I'll come over for 2 hours. It was a rainy Saturday. I'll teach you guys a little bit about just art, right? Like
Hmm.
color wheel. And there were about five of us there. And I sort of ended up in the corner, and she had some paints. And I remember she was teaching people about the color wheel. And I'm over there just messing with the paint. And it is like my inner 5-year-old got loose. It was so fun. And I made a soggy brown mess because I didn't wait for any of the paints to dry. And if you don't wait for anything to dry, you end up largely with a brown mess. I'll just be
Mm-mm.
depending on the colors you're working with, you end up with something muddy. But I loved it. And in all of the coaching certifications and training I've had, one thing that I was always taught that I really encourage clients to do is look for those sparks of joy, like moments where you're going through life and something just lights you up. It gives you a thrill, right?
Mm.
Or like a giggle. And that's what playing with paint. And I was just plain. I mean, really, this was, and I took it home. I actually put it on the refrigerator. My husband was like, oh, But like when you're your own proud
I
parent, right?
love
So there's
that.
these things we look for, these glimmers in life. And it wasn't that I thought, oh, I want to go be an artist. It wasn't that. It's like
It just happened.
play. As an adult, we don't allow ourselves to play and explore in that way, right? We're using our left brain looking for answers and what's next. So, we still had some art stuff in our house, some crayons, some stuff from when my son was younger, and I had some nieces and nephews who'd come over. So I would just play with it, just to go honestly with my written journaling practice in the morning. I meditate in the morning
Hmm.
for a few minutes and journal. These aren't hours, these are minutes, right?
Hmm.
Segments of minutes. And so I started just playing with art, but like you would in a journal, not to create anything. And I really discovered how fun it was. And when something's fun or a release, right, we're more apt to do it. It's not a
True.
should. And pandemic hit, and I really doubled down on playing with it, right? And all
Hmm.
things you use as a kid. I loved the old Elmer's glue stick and,
Yes.
any catalogs that would come or old magazines. I was collaging, and it was fun. It was an outlet. And I started to notice it became a really safe container for all the emotions, right? I would go and scribble little rage or screaming faces or fear, all the things. The pandemic was a time of such fast and intense emotions
Hmm.
that you could feel one thing one minute and then another, and you just flip the page. And I recognized that true ability to flip the page, like, and nothing happened. You would write like rage or fear, and it's like, oh, clean page.
There it
And
is.
that, we hear a lot as adults in therapy, about safe containers and safe places. There was nothing really safer. And in playing with color, when in playing, you really suspend that inner critic,
Hmm.
and which I think is so, so important, right? That's what
It's true.
play does for us, is it allows us to suspend that inner critic. And as adults, I think we need that. It then allows you to be curious, right? It's like on that flip side of that critic, if you will, is curiosity.
Mm.
And it's like, where's this going? That curiosity leads to, creativity, to our authentic selves, to spirit. After a while, I started to recognize the images and symbols in the art journal to me are
Mm.
telling me things before I even know them, if you will. It almost became, for me and for others, a way to, talk with your soul, is what I believe. And because we're more apt, world history is filled with symbols, right? I think
Hmm.
we're people who respond to symbolism and colors, and this is your own symbols. And that's what sort of inspired me to write the book, Art for Your Sanity, and then to teach workshops, because we could all use more play.
Hmm.
And
Yes.
it's short, it's easier, it's got no barrier. It's not about being an artist at all. It's really just about, it starts with play, then it goes to some curiosity, and then some self-compassion, which are things we can all use a little more of.
True. Wow, this is interesting. So when you say that you would see things before that happened, were you drawing like images of things? Were you writing down words? Was it?
It was more images, and some of it was images. I was doing collaging, I was drawn to, and some of it, I'll explain. Like, I would always planned on staying longer in my job than I did. I left a few years earlier than I had planned, and I was being drawn to images of people on cliffs and on edges of windy paths, of windy roads.
Mm.
I would draw that, things that felt foggy or uncleared, with a little yellow sun coming up, right? And it first, you would just say, oh, it's an uncertain time, right? It was during the
Hmm.
pandemic. Like, you can explain anything, and it can be very much in the moment, right?
True.
I can look at what I've drawn and say, oh,
And pull
that's
some
how I'm feeling.
interpretation. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. But then when you go back over it, looking back with months, you really start to see ready for a big step. And it starts to dissolve some of the stories we've heard, like you shouldn't quit till you know what you're going to do. Well, the truth is, in many cases, depending how intense your job is, you don't have the headspace to actually know or to be creative enough to know. I mean, not always. Some people know exactly what they want to do. That's what the windy images and the cliffs were. Years after I had done that, there were images of growth, images of doors. So these are images that speak to me. Doors for when I'm afraid to go through them. And then you start seeing open doors.
And you were drawing these?
Yeah, I was drawing them, and I will buy, for me, I'll go and grab some magazines every once in a while, different magazines. And there was a period I must have gotten a magazine with like a paint ad, because there are all these doors, and most of the doors were closed, doors of different colors. And there was one door that was open with a dog sitting by it. And this was when I'd published or was getting ready to publish the book. And I had a lot of concerns because it's both brain science, a how-to on art journaling, and my personal story, which felt very scary to put out there.
I'm sure.
Right. And anytime
Just being vulnerable.
Exactly. And all these closed doors and yet images of growth. And then I end up finding an open door with, you asked me about pets, with a yellow lab sitting by it. And I wrote the book in the mornings with our, at the time, yellow lab sitting by me every morning. I mean, it gives you chills.
Wow.
When
I love it.
It's like, I didn't intentionally look for that image. That image happened to be in a magazine I'd had for a couple years, right? I keep these things for years and tear them up and do different things with them. And then at
This
the
connection is
moment,
made. Wow.
yeah. And that's what I mean by, I could go back and try and rationalize it, and there's a reason. And it also feels like spirit, soul, God, however you want to think about it, whatever you're comfortable, is also
guiding you,
working through me, encouraging me, right? In that encouraging, resilient way. It's like, yes, you're ready. Here is an open door. And not only is the door open, but this beloved fur family member in the right color, in the right time.
Yes, someone that brings you joy and connection. Yeah, they're waiting for you.
Joy, had passed. All these symbols are there to walk through the door.
I love it. Woo.
Yeah, story after story like that has emerged for me and other people. And it's not that you look through it, you're just expressing yourself. I don't know why I like those different doors or how I even ended up with a magazine that I swear I've been doing this for 8-9 years. That's the first time there was an ad for door paint. And I try and, buy different magazines or pick them up. There used to be magazines everywhere in doctors and dentist's office. That sort of all went away. But because I like collaging and images, it's been really interesting to see what you're drawn to and why. Because it's not like vision boarding in that way. It's more just what strikes you in the moment.
Wow. Yeah, this is really, I love that. And I say, hey, why question it? After a while, when you start to realize that things are falling in, I say, why question it? We just learn to step on into that moment and say, okay, we're where we're supposed to be, or things are happening as they should, which is great. So good.
Well, and that's the faith. Yeah. When we talked, when your opening question, like about spiritual life and how you grew up, I think if you are open to it, you see, excuse me, signs and symbols everywhere.
Yes.
And but to be really open to it, that it's not the exact sign and symbol you want, right? It's that attachment to the way it should be versus, oh my gosh, look at this. I've been afraid. I've been drawn to all these closed doors, and here's this open door. Or person willing to jump off a cliff, or the sun coming up over horizon, whatever it may be. If we're willing to reflect and be open, what I found, the encouragement that comes through art journaling, through playing creatively, through moving into that, because you're moving into your right side of your brain, which is so intuitive and connected and holistic.
I love that. I love that. I'm wondering, how has your background in HR as an HR executive helped shape the art journaling, or shape the way that you approach your art journaling?
Where it really shaped it was through all of the training and time I've spent coaching people, right? It's and I would say the first career in journalist and then the HR training in coaching career development has just helped me to always reflect and ask deeper questions. Like, how do I feel when I'm art journaling? Like after I'll draw or scribble or rage on a page for a few minutes, like, how do I feel? Lighter,
Rage on
freer,
the page. I love
more tense.
that.
Oh, believe me, I have done lots and lots of raging on the page. And what I love about
That's
raging on the
great.
page is it's a really great place to rage, right?
I never
Versus
thought
turning
about
it
it.
inward or
Yeah.
goodness forbid outward, right?
Yeah, I guess true.
It's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
it's a safe place. So no, raging on a page that's
Wow.
yours in private, you can throw it away, you can flip the page,
I never
you can
thought
burn it, you
about
do
it.
whatever.
Okay, I'm gonna
You
try
know?
that. Yeah, it never even crossed my mind. I'm one to be like, I'm gonna get it out. So yeah, verbally. But wow, I'm gonna try that. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
So
the
how do you
verbal
feel? How do you feel after you've
I
like
feel
raged on the page?
fantastic. So here's what I've recognized sometimes is in a really big, intense rage. I'm there working with my crayons, and there's no image from a magazine. It's screaming faces, it's words like rage and shame, it's little flames, it's lightning bolts, right? I'm a 5-year-old drawer. I have not tried to improve my skills because it's not about the art, it's about the release
The
for me.
release, yes.
And what I realize is it dissipates faster when I see it there on the page. And afterwards, I almost sort of shake it off just a little bit, right? Like you get out of a pool or shower, and it's just sort of that little shake, and you feel calmer. You
Mm,
feel peace. Not, it takes a while for that to process through your body, that kind of energy. Then you feel lighter. And the most amazing thing is when I go back because I'll flip through pages to find the next clean page. I have such empathy for the person who is in such a rage. And I recognize so much because I went through a period where I was like, I am a really angry person. Who knew I had
wow.
all this bottled up inside? Because I was taught to reframe, right? And I think in working in HR, I was reframing too fast. I was talking myself out of anger, shame, guilt, annoyance, whatever the uncomfortable feeling was,
Hmm.
I would refrain too fast and not allow myself to actually process it, to watch it pass through me. And as I started to rage on the page more freely and actually enjoy it, I would go back and I'd realize how scared I was. That although so much of it felt like anger, and it was anger. I mean, that was the best way to describe it. Someone had done something.
Hmm.
Something had knocked on my way. I mean, I could point many a finger in the moment. Underneath it all, in most cases, was feeling afraid, not feeling in control, feeling disappointed, feeling vulnerable or exposed,
Hmm.
right? Under so much of what I was experiencing um, was fear.
Wow.
And I would find on subsequent pages, I would be drawing hearts. I would be writing the word love. I would be making little yellow suns because that balance to fear, right? My belief system is that, love is when we get out of fear, right? Fear is just when we've forgotten that love is really the currency
Hmm.
of the universe.
Yeah, we're acting from one way or the other, right? It's either from fear or from love.
Exactly. Exactly. And I would find if I could get it out on the page, it would allow me to open up to all the love
Hmm.
that's around me, but not in that instant reframing that I was doing it, but in a very deep way that I could feel in my body.
Hmm. Wow. Wow. This is something. I'm
Yeah,
one.
it's
I'm
It's a
sorry. Go ahead.
simple little tool, but it can be really, really powerful. I mean, I'm talking minutes, not hours, by the way.
Yeah, this is it, right? You're saying just a little bit of time. You're not giving like your whole day.
No, no, no. And the other thing, I joke a lot of the time, why I still use so many crayons is I have yet to meet an adult in the years I've been doing this and then teaching it who takes themselves seriously holding a crayon. And I think getting rid of that inner critic is so, so important when we need a release.
Mm. Yes, I mean the ego, whatever we're calling it, there's a few,
Yeah,
names, but yeah, sometimes the voices can be really loud in deciding what's
for
happening.
sure. Mhm.
Let's hear a word from one of our sponsors, Body and Voice Studios. Want to improve your singing, strengthen your vocal projection, or refine your diction? Now, you can take voice lessons from anywhere in the world with Body and Voice Studios. Their expert vocal coaches offer personalized online lessons so you can learn to sing from the comfort of your home, no matter where you are. Whether you're a beginner or an experienced singer, they'll give you the tools and understanding you need to use your voice with confidence. Mention Glass Half Full Podcast to receive $5 off your first trial lesson. Visit www.bodyandvoicestudios.com to get started today. Again, visit www.voicestudios.com. I wanted to ask you, how do you think creativity and emotional healing are connected?
I think they go hand in hand. I think creativity helps us heal faster,
Ooh,
right?
nice.
Because we need to heal holistically. We're using a lot of words interchangeably, but I'm going to
Mm,
just talk pure brain science right
sure.
now. When we are thinking about healing and we're working on emotional healing, we can stay very stuck in that left brain, right?
Mm,
Logical, orderly timetables and
mm-hmm.
goals, which true healing doesn't have those. You need to
It's
get
so
to
true.
that right side of the brain. And we can heal all at once and we can re-heal from wounds over and over again, but not as deep and faster. So, as much as we may want healing to be immediate or one stop, and
Mm-hmm.
there's obviously cases of that, some of the life patterns that I think we're here to work on, that as your listeners reflect on those lessons we see come up, but in different forms that give us an opportunity to really build our skill. Creativity speeds it up, makes it joyful,
Mm-hmm.
right? Not all healing has to be or even needs to be painful. It can be joyful. We can have a sense of humor and gratitude and resilience as we face some of the healing. So I think creativity through play is just such a path to joy. And I think that's our true self, right? So
Mm,
if we are bypassing the ego, if we're in presence and being,
yes.
that it's peace, it's joy, it's connection, and that heals you. I hate to use the word instantly, but it heals you so much quicker because you're not grasping, you're not in the pain, you're becoming sort of peaceful with it.
Mm. Oh, nice. I love that. Yeah, it's like a turbo booster. And that's what I was
Yeah,
thinking in my head,
yes.
the way you were describing, like, yes, a turbo booster. I play video games. Yeah, like,
Yeah,
but
no,
this is it.
that's a great way. Yeah, it gets you to another level or
Mm,
several more levels, right? It
yes.
shoots you up. And because we all need that. Yeah. I love that analogy.
So now, what would you say, Susan, to someone who says, "Hey, I'm just not creative. Like I'm not a person who feels creative, but they are curious about trying art journaling."
Yeah. So I'm not creative, right? I mean, I literally this I have found art journaling works best for people who don't, this is going to sound funny, identify as creative or an artist.
Mm,
Um, because the whole key is to approach it as you would as a 5-year-old. The research has shown that most people by about age or 9 in Western sort of society have gotten messages that they're not creative or a great artist or whatever. And if you can tap into when you just created without thought, right? That's why I joked about that mess I made when I hung it up on the refrigerator. There's something about being your own sort of like proud parent of making a mess, right? That's really what I'm advising people do. All the early exercises are about making a mess and scribbling. So this works best for people who just don't view themselves as creative. I've done this for so many years. And if you said, the first words about me and the first descriptor, even in 5-10 minutes of getting to know each other, I don't know that I've actually ever described myself still as creative. I mean, it's a really interesting, we have a very narrow definition of creative, I think. So
now, would your friends or would your husband say that you're creative? Would other people think?
No, literally everyone who would know me would say, I'm super responsible. I'm great at getting things done. I'm really organized. They would say I'm passionate about helping people.
Okay.
But no, creative is never coming in like 15 or 20 adjectives, but yet I think we all create. So
yes, of course we do. We sure do. I love that.
Our impulse for growth, right? It's if what we're really put on this planet to do at this time is to grow and evolve.
Yes.
And you do that through curiosity.
Yes.
If all growth is creative. So in being a human in this time, yes, I am creating, but in what I call the definition, the way we
are defining, yes.
No. So it is absolutely for people who are curious and who want more play or joy or self-discovery. That's how I would say play with this or come to it. You need to it's really important to release that creative label and move it to, I am playing.
I'm being curious. Yeah.
Yes, I think play. And that's why I really advise people don't spend any significant money, like buy stuff in a kids section. If you're around children,
What'd you say? Go to the dollar store and get yourself.
Go to the dollar store, steal the kids' stuff. It's whatever you can do, because when you're not investing a lot of money or a lot of time, you are more apt to play and explore and get yourself over those hurdles or barriers. And that's where you're more quickly tapping into your soul, right? I've tried to create, because I've seen it work for me and others. So here I'm going to use the word create, and this is the HR person in me. I've tried to create a model that I've seen work for people. I've tried to make it as accessible as possible if a listener's curious, right? On my website, there's a free PDF, How to Get Started. I talk about exercises, and the whole goal of all of this is to serve, right? This is something I've seen help people. It helps me every day still, and it brings me some joy, right? I think we could all use these little sparks of joy.
Of course.
And that's the other reason. It's like, even if you don't get any great message, could you use a few minutes of fun today? I bet you could.
Yes, of course.
Of course, yeah.
And I was going to ask you about, some practical ways that people can start doing some things. You spoke a bit about silencing the inner critic. And, what are some ideas or some tips that you can give for people to try to silence the inner critic?
Yeah, so one of my favorite exercises, it's really the first exercise in workshops, and I've got some exercises on the website, is for 3 minutes, allow yourself to scribble. If you have crayons, great. Choose 2 crayons. If you don't, you probably have 2 different colors, pens, maybe a pen and a pencil laying around, right? It doesn't matter a lot. The exercise is 3 minutes. Find a song, a piece of music you like. Most music's 3 minutes. I mean, it's really interesting. If you look for something, it's about 3 minutes, you'll find something. You can put on a longer one, but I love 3 minutes. get a scrap piece of paper and just fill the page. I don't care how. You can draw circles, shapes, scribble, but you're just going to do a 3-minute fill a page. And the page I'm talking about is like 5 by 7. I'm not even talking like a printer piece of paper.
Okay, we're not even going to A4. Okay.
I'm not. I'm talking like, think of a journal size, which is like that 5 by 7 typically.
Okay.
And 3 minutes, just fill the page. Okay. Like, again, if you have crayons, choose 2. It goes faster.
Are you holding both crayons together?
You can do whatever you want. There is not a rule.
Okay.
But what I want you to do is fill the page.
Okay.
And in 3 minutes.
In 3 minutes.
So you just don't have time to think. And then just sit and say, how do I feel afterwards? I will tell you, I've done this exercise so many times. And most people, when I debrief this or when I've done it in person or on the live trainings, feel silly in a good way, free, relaxed. They couldn't believe how fast the time went by. They loved the music. They felt like a kid. They wanted to keep going. And very few felt any critic during that time because they weren't going to show it to anyone. They had constraints. There's a lot to be said for silencing the inner critic in a constrained environment, right? You have very low expectations for yourself in 3 minutes on a small piece of paper with 2 crayons, right?
Yeah.
And what happens is when you recognize you're doing something without that inner critic or that ego, it feels good. You feel freer. You feel lighter. And what I ask people to do, and this is the coaching and HR background, is to notice it and to create environments where they can repeat that intentionally. The other thing, because we go back a lot to childhood, is children are very comfortable until they're told they have to be nice, quite honestly, about telling other kids they can't play with them. I want you to do that to the inner critic, right? It's like, I don't actually need you right now. Our inner critics are there to help protect us, right? And originally, they then grow into these little monsters of perfectionism and societal expectations. But the original growth is to keep us safe, right? And as we go on in the book and in trainings, I try and have folks do a lot of dialogue with that. And in my coaching, it's like, I've got this. I'm safe right now. You can sit over here. I appreciate you, right? I know that you're here. You're not bad. I just don't need you right now. Because I've got this 3 minutes with my crayons, right?
Yeah.
And I never have people show it. And the craziest thing is people always want to show me what they created. It's that proud parent when the very instruction is you are never going to show this to anyone. You can write whatever. And when they have freed themselves, it's really interesting.
Wow.
So that's something your listeners can do. And I think there's a real key in the time limit, 3 minutes. In filling the piece of paper, I'm not asking you to draw something perfect. I'm asking you to cover a piece of paper, whether it's with symbols, with words, with scribbles, with circles, however you choose, with shading, right? I mean, it's up to you, but you're doing it fast. It's a very freeing exercise. And I think it reminds people of what it was like to play. And I'm going to use the word create for just the play of it.
Nice. That sounds so fun. I'm going to try it.
It is. It's a blast. It is truly fun. Yes.
I don't think I have any crayons. Another reason, something else to buy. Wow. Okay. That's awesome. Oh, that's so fun. Thank you for that.
Sure.
I want to talk a little bit about your book, Art for Your Sanity. Sounds like a powerful guide. So what was your intention in writing it?
So the whole intention of writing it is I had incorporated art journaling into my coaching practice, and I was talking about it frequently. And the intention to write it was to share it more broadly. Once again, I've been exposed through a number of years in my career to all these great tools that help people, right? In the coaching world, help us through transitions. And I really feel that the art journaling is fast, it's powerful, it's playful. And in writing the book, Art for Your Sanity, and the subtitle is like, how to manage chaos and unleash joy, right?
Mm,
And I wanted more people to have access to it than I would be able to go around telling.
mm.
And so that's the whole reason I wrote the book. The book is short, comes out of my first career as a journalist. It's a combination of both how to, why it works, and then my own story. So that's where you get into a lot of the spiritual story, if you will, and tapping into your inner wisdom and your authentic self. That's really what motivated it.
Mhm.
And then that's what led to, ironically, it's what led to online training and workshops and really embedding it more in coaching was the desire to help and serve, which you could say is a creative impulse, right? It's
Mhm.
just
Yeah,
it
very true.
expresses itself in a different manner.
Yes, I like the way that's put. You're right. How long has the book been out?
Gosh, I was just thinking about that this morning. It came out 10 months ago on the day we are recording this.
Stop it.
Isn't that crazy?
I
I was
love
thinking of
it. See?
how much has happened since then and how afraid I was, right? That's the time I was seeing the open door with the lab was right about, and
Wow.
that's a very recent symbol for me. So yeah.
Wow. I love that. And I mean, and where you are at this point as well, and in sharing the story. Wow. I love that.
Yeah.
And this is to me another sign, you know.
Yeah, it is
We don't have to
exactly.
search too far to realize like, oh, okay, there it is. You know.
No,
Oh,
we sure don't.
nice. Nice, nice, nice. Have you had any chance to hear any feedback from the readers that have read the book at this
Yeah,
moment?
no, I've gotten a lot of great feedback. And one of the thing in the publishing industry, and because this was the first book I had done, I didn't understand it. You get all these pre-reviews from different sources, one called NetGalley. And what was so meaningful to me before it came out, because I was very afraid,
I'm sure.
right? And was that several of the reviews were exactly what I hoped it would be. And I'll tell you what it was.
Okay.
Because I chose to write a shorter book and use my own images, which made me feel very vulnerable, my very favorite review was I was able to read it tonight and start in the morning I'm writing this. I was inspired and curious. So to me, it
Wow.
spoke to what I wanted it to do.
Mm,
I would like to think it's well written and interesting, but I had no expectations, right? That this is like an earth shattering book. It's like, I want this to be helpful for
yes.
people. I want
Yeah,
them to
it's
be
a
able to read
tool.
it in a
It's a
setting,
tool.
and it's a tool, and then be able to do it. That ended up being one of my very, very favorites. Another that was a favorite and went against my fears, right? I think when we see our fears on paper, but you realize it's not really a fear, it's a strength. You asked me about being a creative person. I just told you no one's ever described me that way. This reviewer had a art background, a professional art background, and what they wrote was, I love her book for people who don't have an art background because it makes it accessible and takes away the fear.
Wow.
Right? Here I was thinking someone with an art background might say this is us being mean to ourselves or just those fear talking. It's silly, it's simplistic. And instead, my two big fears were that it was too
You're
short
yeah.
or too accessible and that I wasn't an artist. These early reviews before it were published felt like gifts, quite honestly,
Oh,
and signs from the universe that
that it was
my
right.
biggest insecurities were actually being
Your biggest
seen.
strengths.
And
Yeah.
these are independent reviewers. You don't know, who they
And it didn't
are,
matter
and how
who it
much they're getting
was. It
paid.
didn't matter.
No,
It
but
was the point
it
that
was
that
so,
yeah, this could
yeah,
be
those
revealed
were
to
two
you.
of my very favorite that really helped me as we went into launching the book.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I mean, hey, this is it. That ego get in, the doubter get in, and we're questioning ourselves. But I love that you had a chance to be able to see someone else who doesn't even know you, to be
Not
able
at
to
all,
give
yes.
an honest opinion about exactly what they saw. I love it. I love it. Yeah, we can't get caught up into the inner critic, because
Yeah.
sometimes it
And
will convince us of things that do not exist to lead us off.
Yeah, we can tell ourselves a vicious and mean story to keep us, yeah, small and afraid. And it takes a lot to work our way through that for sure.
No, it's true. So true. I wanted to ask you, what is your hope for listeners who might be in a life transition and they're hearing this story for the first time?
So my hope is always that if anything in our conversation has struck a chord, a bit of curiosity, made you like smile, feel giddy, follow that, right? That is continues to be my advice is you know your life and you know you and your soul better than anyone. And it's really giving yourself permission to follow that glimmer, that
Mm.
spark, that sort of just question like, huh, I want to try that. So that's my hope.
I love that. I love that. You know, as a teacher, they always say you really get a chance to learn when you're teaching.
Yeah.
And it's like, before being in that field, you're like, what? But, it's true. As you are teaching, you really are learning in a different way, because life is different and people are different and circumstances are different in teaching. And they will unfold when things are happening in. I'm wondering if you had anything to give for people who were in this type of, I wouldn't say transition, but if they were in a place where, they weren't really, journaling wasn't something that they were able to do, but they know that there was an outlet of some things that they were able to do. What else would you recommend? Even saying a therapy or seeing in some type of group of that, recommend for people that might be helpful if if this is something that they can't do or they're not able to
Sure.
do.
Yeah. So I'll step back. We go through a lot of life transitions, and sometimes we go through a number of them at once. Can be jobs change, relationships change, location changes, something in our family. So, what I would want people in that situation to know is that one, transitions are tough,
Hmm.
and we all go through them. No one has a magic way of going through them, but there's three very predictable stages. They're not necessarily always linear, but if you're aware of them, they can help. One is there's an ending that you need to honor and spend some time, even if it's a change or transition you want, if you will, grieving and honoring or ritualizing, whether it's a job change, a location change, a health change, a relation, a family situation. It's really important if we don't create an ending and acknowledge an ending, we carry a lot with us. Then
I
there's
like that.
messy, then there's this really messy middle. And as humans, we want to get through that as fast as possible, right? We would like to be done with it and to the new thing immediately. And it rarely, if ever, works that way. And in this messy middle, you're sliding backwards, you're going sideways. It can feel very ambiguous. To give yourself a lot of grace, ask a lot of questions during that time,
Hmm.
create, use self talk, right? If you can't do art, I mean, I'm always a fan of therapy. So,
Mm.
any therapist, any trusted spiritual counselor, always great to have a neutral third party.
Nice.
And then there's a new beginning, right? So you've got an ending that you need to honor and create some ritual. And you may not grieve, just like we don't heal at once. You may not put that behind you all at once either. You will keep revisiting it.
Mm.
Then there's this messy middle before you get comfortable or even see what the new beginning's like. And then we want to think once the new beginning's here, whatever it is, we're set. The new beginning is got some challenges. You may slide back. It may not be what you thought it would be. It may eventually be what you thought it would be, but it feels new and awkward, like when you're learning a new skill. So, what's hardest on people is when you're going through a number of life transitions. It's called a life quake all at once.
Wow.
Right.
I've never heard that, but I love it.
And
Lifequake.
that's really where I would advise, find a coach if you can, a therapist. If nothing else, read something about transitions because these stages are really well researched. Like I said, they don't happen quite as linear, like you can slide back and forth between them,
Hmm.
but just the awareness of what you're going through and why it doesn't feel good right now, or
Hmm.
your frustration that the new thing isn't working out or isn't here yet. It's really big life transitions can take years to get adjusted to, and none of us like that.
It's
Right?
our
We want
patience, right? Yeah.
it's a patience, it's a faith thing, and that's where having someone to talk to or a tool can be really, really helpful.
Mm. So nice. That was awesome. I love that breakdown of those three, the ending, the messy middle, and the new beginning.
Yeah.
Put so well, and spoon fed to us. We can easily understand it. We love it.
Yeah, no, thank you. It's really it's great stuff that I feel really honored to coach and help people with, because it's part of the human experience. And when there's, I think, models that support us and keep us curious, we're not as alone feeling, because society, movies, social media, whatever can make things look so simple.
So true.
And we
Yeah.
can suffer
False
so
narrative.
silently inside that it's really good to demystify some of these things.
It's so true. So true. I love that. I want to do a little fill in the blank with you.
Sure.
I'll ask and you can just fill it in, whatever comes to your mind about it. I'm happiest when I.
In nature.
Hmm. Do you, where you're living, do you have access to nature immediately, or a garden that you are able to?
I have I have access to a garden. We're in a very small house. We did a huge downsize, and it's sort of got a walled place. And I've created, it's very small, but a little garden. And every
Oh.
morning I go out, it gives me such joy to see what's bloomed, what hasn't, just the changes. So though I do have access to lots of trees. Austin's got a lot of trees, and I walk in the neighborhood. A small garden, even my house plants serve as nature, but I do try and get outside every day.
Good. And what does it make? How is it that, what kind of happiness are you feeling when you see
I
these
feel
flowers?
connected to the earth. So the
It's the connection.
happiness is connection,
Mm.
and it's connection to um, something larger than myself. And I feel like
Yes.
nature moves me there
Mm.
almost immediately.
Nice. Thank you.
Mhm.
I'm hardest on myself when I.
I continue to be impatient. Um,
Me
I laugh
too.
at myself. I was started by sharing that I am 60, and I don't think I was patient ever. I see it more clearly. I see it more clearly now. I do, but I'm starting to accept that I just may never be that. Similar, we were joking about creative in the adjectives used to describe me by those who love me.
Mm.
They're not saying patient. Now, they may say I have tremendous compassion or loyalty, right? I mean, they may
Mm.
use words that someone might say, oh, you're patient, or stamina. But
Okay.
internally, I think we know what patience feels like.
This is it.
That's a constant tension for me. And I spend a lot of time meditating on that and
Mm.
peace.
I love that. I mean, it's true. Like, we have so many words that there's just a definition, and you just say, "Oh yeah, I know what happiness is," or "Oh, I know what joy feels like." And in reality, sometimes we don't really know what the real meaning of the word is. Like,
No.
before living in Japan, I always knew what the word peace was, and I thought that I had peace, that I lived peacefully. But after
Yeah.
living here, I realized that I was never living peacefully in America. In New York City, you're walking up to your door, you're
Yeah.
taking one earphone out, making sure no one's behind you, and here it is the safest place. You can drop your wallet, someone's going to return it. You can leave your computer on the train, like you'll get it back. Like it's a whole different type of safety. So it was the first time to feel peace in my life, and really feel like, wow, I never knew what the meaning of it was, even though I thought that I did for all these years, So I get your
Yeah.
understanding about that. Okay,
Isn't it
I'm sorry, Dozo.
interesting? No, I agree. I lived in Hong Kong for a while. It was the same way. My husband left a bunch of cash and a pocket that went out to the laundry. A lot of cash was returned.
See, and like where we're at,
Yeah.
that money ain't coming back. From
No,
America, like,
no,
it ain't happening.
no. It's a whole, but I'll tell you that living there does change you because where I live now, not that I don't have trust, but I want to make sure that I am applying those standards everywhere.
Hmm.
Right. I find cash in a parking lot, I'll look around. Right. I mean,
Yes.
at some point you don't know what to do, but it's really I do try and emulate some of what I learned living there in terms of finding the owners of things.
Yes, this is it, right? This is it.
Mm.
Okay, let me ask you. I'm grateful for.
Mm. Life, breath,
I love that. The strength I'm most proud of is.
resilience.
Such a good one. Such a good one.
Yeah.
Yes. Back and back again.
Mhm.
I'm stronger when I.
Am vulnerable.
Wow. So good. So good. This is
Hard.
true, right?
Hard.
It's hard, but yes,
Mhm.
right. Thank you for your
So
honesty.
So hard. Yeah, I don't want to act like that one I've got nailed. And not at all. But boy, does it teach you how
Mm,
people show up and make you feel good.
yes.
Uh yeah.
I agree. I agree. Um, let's see. One more. I'm working on being better at.
Presence.
Oh,
Just
that's good.
being and it's interesting. It's a hard one, right? We've
Mm,
talked about patience, but it's a muscle. I can really see over the years and years in my meditation and other practices, the cycle gets shorter of me getting caught up in the story or the delusion.
mm,
It's a muscle, but I continues to be one that I must work on.
mm. Yeah, we all. Yeah, definitely. All. Oh, those are great answers. So good. So good. I'm wondering, are there any life transitions that you're working through with your art journaling right now?
Yeah, it's interesting. Earlier this month, I gave a TED talk and a talk at a major university, and there was a lot of focus.
Congratulations,
It was
Susan.
thank you.
Let me
And
give you a
thank
little
you.
of this.
It
Yes.
was huge. I didn't see either coming in that way,
I love
and
it.
both were great, but when I finish something really big, all of a sudden it's like, what next? And I've been journaling because I do the art journaling for a few minutes. I'm just drawing question marks. I got myself some inexpensive pastel sort of oily crayons from Amazon. If you plug for Amazon, it's just they had
I
like a
felt like
four,
I could see you smile when you're saying these, when you're
yeah,
talking about the
like a
crayons.
$4 box. And yeah, I've spent several pages and days just drawing question marks.
Mm,
And then I'll tell you that this is interesting. You talk about the signs. I'll draw a page of question marks because it's sort of like what now, if you've been really focused on a goal and doing it, and then it comes, right? The event comes and
hmm
then it's over. And all of a sudden you're left with that empty feeling like, what now?
hmm
Drawing the question mark. And then all of a sudden, I've never drawn this symbol. I start drawing butterflies, don't know why. They're easy to draw, right? Anything that's easy to draw at some point, I'd probably try. And then it's interesting. And it's the time of year, but I start seeing butterflies everywhere because I'm asking for a sign and I don't know what the sign is other than I'm enjoying seeing them. And somehow I'm creating a patience.
Mm,
So that's the transition. I mean, this has really just been in the last 2 weeks.
mm.
Yeah, I am just putting some question marks
Something is,
on a
is is
page
is about
in
to
different
reveal
colors.
itself. Yes.
Yeah, who
Yes.
knows? So that's my current transition.
I love that. I love that. I want to change a little bit and I want to ask you, who is around you that helps keep you present and motivated and together? Who is that person that helps you?
My husband, for sure,
Oh,
helps me the most, and he's quite opposite from me. And where he helps me the most, like I said, it's been 30 plus years.
yeah, it's a long time. Congratulations on that.
Thank you. Yeah, but it's like, do it, right? Like I'll say something that's not remotely his interest or his jam. He's like, yes, do that. He is a great empower. I don't think he's ever said no, as much as it's not the way he views the world or the way he looks at spirituality or coaching, anything like that. He is a huge fan of if I verbally say a question, a glimmer, like I'm thinking about, he comes back with yes. And
Oh,
it's quite magical. So he definitely gets the call out on that.
what's his name?
Bob.
Oh, we love the name Bob. One of my best friends
Bob,
is
yeah.
Bob. Yeah. So great. That's so nice. It's important to have people in your corner. It's important
It
to people
is.
to have people who have your back because the world can be so
Absolutely.
cruel. They can, now with this social media, you don't even see the people, but they can type up anything to say to be hurtful. So it's nice that you can have someone in your corner who's just being like, yep, let's do it. Okay, great. Let's come on. Like,
Yeah.
just the extra, I got your back. So that's awesome. That's awesome. I like to ask my guests this final question. Is your glass half empty or half full?
Always half full. No,
I
really. I think I was born half full for sure.
love that. I love that. Yeah, everybody has a different answer. It's so great for this
Yeah, it's
question.
funny, but that's an easy one. It's interesting. So many other questions you don't know, but no, I think it's just, yeah, we all feel that answer, whatever it may be.
Yes, this is it. Whatever it may be. Whatever it may be. I want to ask you, do you have any final thoughts for our listeners? You've given us so much stuff, but
Yeah.
what would you like
No,
to leave us with?
final thought, and I'm repeating it, but if it's at all curious, anything we've said, because it's been such a great and rich discussion and so open and connected, but anything's giving you the slightest glimmer, play into it for a few minutes, right? Whatever it is, play into it. That really is how we tap into our soul.
I love it. I love it. And I'm going to get me some crayons now.
Yeah,
My
for
mom and
sure.
sister both have coloring books
Yeah,
and they
awesome.
color like, yeah, these big coloring books. And I was like, oh, I haven't colored in such a long time. I loved it when I was a kid. But when you were talking, it brought it back to being like, wow, that I really always enjoyed the time coloring. But as an adult, I've totally forgotten about that until this moment of even
Yeah,
having the time to even do that.
yeah, and you can do it, right? It doesn't have to be a big thing. It's if you think of what you doodle with a crayon nearby or a colored pen, because sometimes it helps us process, right? And it's about, I think, creating that opportunity. There's something about using color that's really, really freeing.
Hmm.
It represents a lot in our psyche.
That makes sense. That totally makes sense. Definitely about it. Wow. So good. So good. Thank you for all of the amazing information that you've given. Can you tell everyone how they can reach you if they want to find out more about you?
Sure. It's simple. It's just my website's the easiest place. It's just susan-hensley.com. And everything's on it, right? There's the free guide on how to get started art journaling, there's
Mm-hmm.
book, there's video trainings, there's all that stuff. But if you have a question, you can just hit contact me. I get a form and I answer all those. So I'm also happy to, I love hearing from listeners of podcasts and folks with questions. So feel free to just hit the contact me button.
Oh, bless your heart. That's so sweet. And of course, all of this will be underneath the information so they can easily click it. In today's times, no one's writing things down anymore. So
No, no,
it'll be
just
a click
click it.
away. Yeah, it'll be a
Google
click.
it, click it. Yeah, any of that.
Yes, I love it. And so simple, just one place where everything is at. So we thank you so much for your time and your energy this morning. It has been so
Oh, thank
great.
you. No, it's been a
Yes.
wonderful conversation. You have a terrific day. Thank you.
Oh, you as well. We'll be in touch real soon.
Okay, take
Thank you.
care.
Alrighty. Bye-bye. Thank you for tuning in to another inspiring episode of our podcast. I'm your host, Chris Levins, and I want to express my gratitude to each and every one of you for being a part of our supportive community. Remember, Glass Half Full is not just a podcast. It's a safe platform for everyone to share their life experiences. Your stories and voice matter, and we appreciate you for being here with us. If you enjoyed today's episode and want to stay updated with our future content, please subscribe, follow, and rate our podcast on Apple Music, Spotify, and YouTube. Your support means the world to us, and it helps us reach even more listeners who can benefit from these valuable life experiences. As we wrap up this episode, always keep in mind, you are blessed. No matter the challenges you face, there's a reservoir of strength within you. Until next time, stay positive. And remember, the glass is always half full. See ya! Hello, listeners of Glass Half Full. Thank you for tuning in to another inspiring episode of our podcast. I'm your host, Chris Levins, and I want to express my gratitude to each and every one of you for being a part of our supportive community. Remember, Glass Half Full is not just a podcast. It's a safe platform for everyone to share their life experiences. Your stories and voice matter, and we appreciate you for being here with us. If you enjoyed today's episode and want to stay updated with our future content, please subscribe, follow, and rate our podcast on Apple Music, Spotify, and YouTube. Your support means the world to us, and it helps us reach even more listeners who can benefit from these valuable life experiences. As we wrap up this episode, always keep in mind, you are blessed. No matter the challenges you face, there's a reservoir of strength within you. Until next time, stay positive. And remember, the glass is always half full. See ya!